I realized that it's been a while since I've been bringing up the validation that shows that this is these patterns of this just manipulating people in these pedophile ways. With me, they use this tonality. And I'm saying this perps contracted by these governmental entities feel pedophile. We know the agencies running these programs are related to DOD, DARPA, CIA, which actually happen to have a lot of pedophiles in these agencies. Now, for me, they use these people who sometimes utilizing this tonality, which is completely failing. For me, it's just like, like these fraudulent people who nobody actually believe and trusts, but want you to trust them. That's who I deal with. Now, I understand everybody around me know this is what they do. 2 minutes ago they brought up something that made me experience, and they actually add layers to it, adding more stimulations, adding more perceptions that are falsified. It's so disgusting. They go back into the things they do themselves and kind of add to it, right? But for me, the reason why I'm never nervous about these things at this point is how do you cover this up? Is that going to be your tonality is going to cover this up? Or is it maybe tell me that I'm going to fight? Because either way, it doesn't take a genius to see that there is some patterns that indicates a pedophilia type of tormenting. With me, I'm listening to this trash talking to me, and usually they use female-like individuals, but there's also male. And they're like, no, they keep dying, and try to disorient me, which you're going to hear that. They say things, the scripts, to disorient you, to confuse you, and to move you away from putting things in perspective. With me, as they do their thing, I just push them to a level of retardation. I make them having to dumb themselves over and over and over and over and over. We see each other, they do their thing, and nothing's happening. This is why. Listen to what you're going to hear. One, you're going to hear a woman literally say that they do this pedophilia type of torture. They make her smell baby powder and have her experience pedophilia type of tormenting, meaning they make her experience stimulations, thoughts that are pedophilia centric. Then you're going to hear another trans woman, actually a woman and now a trans woman, who before she died, may she rest in peace, her name is Miss Jackie, literally say that they're trying to change who I am. They are making me have these pedophilia thoughts. Other person saying that they do this program of perversion where they force her to get stimulation and aim those stimulation toward children. It doesn't end there. They do this thing where there's this Robert Duncan, which you're going to hear multiple times. And one of his book about no-touch torture, he talks about when he interviewed 1,000 targeted individuals, almost all of them mentioned that they do this thing where they implant child porn in their mind, making them think about child pornography. Now, that's not enough, right? Then you hear that the entities contracting these bottom feeders, these agencies, are filled with pedophiles. Now, it doesn't end there. Not only they do the pedophilia type of torture, which is the psychological tortures, but they actually torture children sexually. In every ways, they do these disturbing things. And by the way, also this woman, Mariana, who talked earlier, mentioned they do this program perversions, but also, they do this perception manipulation, making youth have thoughts and perception that are disturbing. And then calls out the fact that they also do this child porn implantation in her mind when she sleeps. This is why I can never subscribe to it. And by the way, when they try to play this femme fatale, being women that talk in these ways, oh yes, this woman literally say, well, there's a lot of females doing that. What kind of woman are you? This trash talking to me. Oh, in this random, interview of Robert Duncan with some other target individual, he addresses how they create this psyop. One target individual believed that it was a next door 14-year-old Xbox player doing this thing. Basically trying to create a psyop, make it seem like it's everybody else doing that, but a large government doing this. In every ways. Before they were humiliated by reality. As for me, they do these pedophilia things they force me to experience, which is I'm not the only one. Which, you know what they say? No, what they did is just, they make me think the way I would think when I was a child. It's not the pedophilia type of torture that you hear almost all target individuals experiencing. It's that. With this basic ass gaslighting. And they want me to be like subscriptive. That's why I record these shits. For me, I'm going to look at you like, listen to reality. You guys do the pedophilia type of torture. Why do you think they use childlike individuals claiming that they're winning because I'm dying, knowing that the damn well the government is running this program? These governmental entities who happen to have a lot of pedophiles, which you're going to hear. You know what they say? No, you are a pedophile. Clowns. This is the winners. There is no torture. There is nothing that can counter reality. So when they do their noise campaign after forcing me to have these disturbing thoughts of what they've done to me, and have to even create more to it, and I'm not moving, and I'm not even faded by it. Why? It's because I know they've done that. I think it's been a while since I've been bringing up these validations of the manipulation they've done. I have no problem doing that for the rest of my life. Then hearing these losers working on this tonality, utilizing this V2K. So then you listen to what they say. They're gonna torture you and then you're gonna die. It's like, yes, I'll die. But you will not be able to say a pedophile's name. You'll be working for pedophiles and you'll be torturing children, which is going to hear that. And you'll be doing the pedophilia type of torture, which is the signature tormenting tactics. And then you'll die. Actually, some of you might even die before I die. TBD. To be determined. Because many have already. But thank you, God, I got to see and hear these testimonials. And I got to see this trash doing this noise campaign, which, unfortunately for them, I'll never let them live their fantasy. When we see each other, please understand, I'll see you for truly what you are. In this isolated area, I mean, they can play with me. I'm like, listen, my brain, you can play with whatever you want. You can even create more than what you've already done to me. But if this is my death, I'm thank God I didn't have to live my life and die the way you're going to die. Or live the way you're living. Target individuals, they are trying to counter reality. They are trying to make, right now, you know what they're even saying? It's our death. Trust, you can't even say the name of a pedophile. I know whose death it is. And you just the losers the government contract to do this horrible shit to people. Your death is going to be your own. Trust me, I'll never look at these people as the reason why I'm dying. They're just the trash. Trash like that comes in by millions. They're just the losers the government uses. Just below that trash have been utilizing the same tactics. But when you see each other, please understand, I've been in an elevator full of this trash. I'm listening to what I'm saying and see this shit around me. It's like these losers. I could be one of this trash. I've seen this man who was threatening my life, or trying to make it seem like he's threatening my life. I don't even know why he does it because I know who's running this program. I said Roy Moore in front of him. This guy was scared of a fucking pedophile. I think he thought I was going to be subscriptive of these manipulations and not see him for what he truly is. Target individuals see this for what they are, see them for the losers that they are, and the trash that they are. We are human subjects in a program that is trying to rewire us and manipulate us in different ways and make us identify to these manipulations. And they're even willing to use their babies, which with me, they try to then do this nasty pedophilia type of torture. And I'm not the only one, because you're going to hear that. Let me repeat that. You're going to hear about the pedophilia type of torture. You're going to hear about this person talking about how they force this person to think in these pedophilia ways. You're going to hear about this pattern that almost all target individuals that they have interviewed, which is 1,000 or so, almost all of them say they're forced to see child porn in their mind, which is an indication of what kind of trash these people are. You're going to hear a woman who literally said they forced me to get like sexual stimulation and aim those toward children. You're going to hear a woman literally say there's a lot of females involved in this program. What's good? You're going to hear the fact there's a problem with these pedophiles in these agencies. Why are they letting so many pedos in these agencies? And then you're going to hear that they do these things where they try to confuse the target individual to make him or her believe that it's everything but this large government running this program. And try to make it believe it's just these neighbors doing these things when they're just the trust they contract to do these things. No. Whatever tonality they try to make themselves talking. For me, listen to this reality. Am I going to get stabbed? Okay, thank you, God. I didn't have to go for pedophiles, but listen to what you do, what you're part of. Death comes to all of us. I've accepted my death a long time ago. And I've accepted what you guys do a long time ago. So listen to this and understand what this trash do.
As malodorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like, this disgusting thing. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick.
Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
Impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain, they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example, artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
Or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing. And then I said again out loud, "You'll never take my will, ASS." So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children.
In the face, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is, with the voice to skull, it's a bunch of females. And I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow this to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with you?
Okay, so they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this. And so anyway, my interview with Len, he very well described a typical breakdown script that's used on almost all the TI victims. TI stands for targeted individuals. Some of them are pretty crazy. They have names like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and those are the confusion tactics. And when they're breaking down the ego of the human through all the pains and tortures and the verbal breakdown, these are typical CIA torture scripts.
Contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for the viewing of images of abuse have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason?
Ali, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number 1, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number 2, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
young children? I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. And I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow. I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom.
So you hear the obvious disturbing patterns that we see here, not only in regard of how they torture and torment psychologically, physically, and the people who are running this program have a problem with these pedophilia issues. As I was saying, I was listening to that. They were going back into memory and trying to manipulate something they already messed with me. I remember going to do laundry earlier on, hoping that if I go early, nobody's going to be there in regard of like, they're not going to bring their babies, but I was wrong. And of course, somebody brought their little baby girl, little adorable little girl, and I was like, I was disturbed, but I had my camera on, which ended up now functioning for some reason, and perhaps they didn't want me to humiliate the person that was involving himself in that, and so they forced me to get the stimulation, but now what they're trying to do is just making me imagine like the butt of this kid is like, and I'm talking about like 4 to 6 year old, right, babies, try to create things that don't even make sense, because I was in front and this man was like literally next to me, turning around and looking at this baby. So it's not even like it's physically even possible, but they can make me imagine this. They can play with your imaginations and disturb you even in some disturbing ways, which is disgusting. So they're even adding to the disturbing reaction I experience because of them. But on top of that, adding some more like imaginations, which they're doing this noise campaign to try to make me accepting of this. And I was like, please knock on my door. Please. I was like, please do this. Make that mistake. Because it's never going to happen. This trash torture even children. and play with people's imaginations and reactions and all these disgusting things that you just heard. There is nothing that is happening to me that hasn't been happening to others. They do this pedophilia type of torture. It's what they've done to others. It's what they're doing to others. It's what they will be doing to others. And then try to make you accepting of things. Even the imaginative things they add to the initial pedophilia torment they do. For me, it's that. Death comes to all of us. This trash was making noise campaign, walking around, because that's her job. To try to make you identify with these manipulations. I've called these trash pedos in their faces. They've heard it all from me. I don't let them even escape. To the point where they even sweat bullets. Because they're like, this guy's not even he's not even giving us the choice of thinking this is we're going to let him escape in this fantasy. I don't even do that. For me, it's just, oh, you want me to imagine these disturbing things? No. You're a bunch of low-life pedophiles. Dragging your baby so they can create thoughts and disturbing even early in the morning. I try to go to the laundromat early in the morning so that things that those nastiness is not applied onto me. But no, they this incentive, so they get these babies early on, dragging them in the elevators to get these things done, and then even adding to the layers now, making me imagine this kid in this way that was right behind me. It's crazy. It's disturbing. It's things that you don't even understand. It's nasty low-lifeness.